Months after Alau Dam collapse, community faces ongoing food shortages, drought and fishermen migration. 20 people feared death in boat accident in Benue. Troops thwart robbery attack, rescue 3 kidnapped victims in Taraba. Away from Nigeria, ECOWAS holds 66th Ordinary Summit as military leaders pledge to step down. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you for joining us. The news in detail. Months after the collapse of the Alau Dam in Borno State, the community is suffering food shortage, drought and migration of fishermen. Our correspondent Hamisu Matazu reports that Maiduguri and its environs also suffer water scarcity as pipelines connecting the city were destroyed in one of the worst floods to hit the city in 30 years. The report.
In September 2024, one of the worst floods in 30 years devastated the people of Borno State in northeast Nigeria. In the early hour of Tuesday, 10 September 2024, the Alau Dam collapsed. Alau Dam, a major water reservoir in Kunduga local government area, is about 15 kilometers south of Maiduguri. It was constructed in 1984 to suppress floods and also serve as a water source for irrigation and domestic use. In the wake of the 2024 flooding, authorities claim unusually high rainfall prompted the dams to collapse. But there were signs at least a month before.
Farming is the only occupation I do. I do it to feed my wives and 17 children. But the flood washed away all the millet, guinea corn, maize, and coffee. We worked so hard to grow, and the farmlands were completely washed away. Until this time, I have never missed the yearly rain feed and dry season farming.
Local in Alau says that over 300 people relied on the dam for subsistence farming. But this year, there is no much water for agriculture.
We are in a very dire situation. My farm and that of my husband were submerged on the day of the flood, and all our crops washed away before turning the land into desert. Our vegetable farm where we used to cultivate watermelon, onion, tomatoes and peppers were also destroyed.
Standing where his fertile farmland used to be, Usman Mala remember how the dam shattered before his very eyes. He blames government for not taking action despite repeated calls by the community. For many farmers like Usman, all that is left now is scorched earth and what now seems like a desert. The erosion swept the land clean. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, estimate that crops and food destroyed by the flood will have fed 8.5 million people for 6 months. This further deepens food crisis and hunger in the country. Fishermen who live in the Alau Dam area for decades are now fighting for survival. Many have succumbed to the threat of their livelihood and are migrating, making the situation even worse.
The water is draining away very fast, and no fisherman can do without water. That's why both the fish catchers and buyers are leaving the areas to other locations. More than 1 million people are tied to this dam for their livelihood, but more than 50% have now given up. We are waiting to see if this embankment project by the state government will yield results.
Bukar Ali, a resident of Bulabulin, says since the flood receded, his community has not had flowing water. He has had to buy drinking water.
We don't have water to drink. We have a reservoir here, but the water content has turned black, so we operate to use it. We now buy 25 liters of jerrycan at 100 naira. We can't afford to be buying the water at this cost. Let the government know our situation and fix the supply.
Since the flood water receded, we have not been seeing pipe-borne water from Alau Dam, and the boreholes built by the NGOs stopped working. Now, the commercial water is very expensive. We barely bathe our children once in 2 days, and the government has discouraged us from using stream water.
This means Mustapha will be spending 45,000 naira monthly for water for his household. This forces him to fetch water from the stream to wash his clothes and for other house chores.
Severe frustration while searching for water every day. Now I need 1,500 to 2,000 every day to buy a jerrycan of water from catfishers fetching from a long distance.
But as the water shortage intensified in Balabulin, the government scrambled to salvage the city from drought. Some residents in nearby Gwange seems to get enough water to waste, obviously ignorant of the danger it portends. In an effort to stem the tide of spillage from the dam, the state government has been shipping truckloads of boulders, sand and gravels to block the seepage. Villagers and workers on site also painted a scary portrait of the grave implications and tragedy it could have on lives and the economy. Water from the dam support a large volume of food production. A hydrologist at University of Maiduguri, Dr. Musa Malam Aji, explained how the flood disaster impacts on water supply.
When you look at the dam itself now, there is also major issues that is concerning now. One, because of this flood has brought up a lot of silt sands, must have filled off the volume of the capacity of the dam itself. The dike has been broken. So whatever comes from the upstream of the dam, it will just go through the broken dikes and then dissipate somewhere. So there is the level of the water in the reservoir itself is diminishing, or it has diminished.
For decades, the structural integrity of Alau Dam has been tested, showing signs of impending collapse, but it was left unattended until it finally did. Despite the devastating impact of human life and environment, there are still no sign of a strategic plan to protect people and the environment. As the dry season hits hard, a new rainy season slowly creeps in, the question remains: have authorities learned any lesson from their inaction in the past? Or is history bound to repeat itself?
Quite a sad one there. Alau Dam community members still feeling the impact of the devastating effect of the flood. Now moving on, at least 20 people, mostly women and children, are feared dead following a boat mishap on the River Benue on Saturday near Ocholonya in Agatu local government area in Benue State. The victims were reportedly returning to Doma in Nasarawa State after attending a market day in Ocholonya village when their wooden boat capsized. The chairman of Agatu local government area, Melvin James, confirmed the incident on Sunday. He said that the victims were traders from Apochi and Odenyi communities in Doma, Nasarawa State. The chairman added that efforts are underway to coordinate with Nasarawa State officials to console the affected families, as he further disclosed that the Nigerian Navy had been contacted to assist in rescue operations. However, conflicting reports about the number of casualties persist, as at the time of filing their story, as some sources claim 20 bodies have been recovered, while others suggest that several people remain missing. Attempts to reach the spokesperson for the Benue State Police Command, Catherine Anene, were unsuccessful, as her phone was unreachable at the time of filing this report. And now to security matters. Troops of the Nigerian Army's 6th Brigade, operating under Operation Golden Peace and Sector 3 Operation Well Stroke, said they have successfully thwarted a robbery operation, rescued 3 kidnapped victims and recovered weapons in a series of operations recently carried out in Taraba State. This was contained in a statement on Sunday by the Brigade Acting Assistant Public Relations Officer, Captain Oni Olubodunde. He said the troops, while patrolling the Takum-Katsina-Ala road, intercepted an ongoing robbery near Kasuwa Shenu in Takum town. The troops' swift action, according to him, led to the arrest of a suspect, Emmanuel Thomas Oyiman, who was alleged to have been found with a locally fabricated pistol and 2 rounds of 9mm ammunition in a related operation which the army said took place on December 13. The troops, while responding to a distress call from Manzala village in Yoro Local Government Council regarding bandit activities, rescued 3 kidnapped victims whom, according to the soldiers, have since been safely reunited with their families. The brigade commander, Brigadier General Kingsley Chidebere Uwa, praised the troops for their professionalism and called on the public to support ongoing efforts by providing credible intelligence. The Fulani socio-cultural group Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Miyetti Allah Cattle Hall has unveiled a cattle international market in the Karu local government area of Nasarawa State, targeted at tackling farmers and herders clashes across the country. Abdullahi Bello Bodejo, the national president of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Hall, who spoke during the event at the weekend, said the establishment of the international market would foster integration with other ethnic nationalities in the country and also to sustain the late Sardauna of Sokoto, Sir Ahmadu Bello legacy. Bodejo, who was represented by the North Central Chairman of the group, Ibrahim Adamu, explained that the new market would add the economic value of not only the Northerners but also all the Nigerian citizens. While commending President Bola Tinubu for creating the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, he, however, reiterated the association's commitment to continue to give massive support to him in order to ensure the success of his administration. In politics, the People's Democratic Party has denied reports that it invited former President Goodluck Jonathan to join the 2027 presidential race on its platform. Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ibrahim Abdullahi, denied the reports in an interview with BBC Hausa, saying the party did not issue its presidential ticket to Jonathan. He said the report that the PDP has issued its presidential ticket to former President Goodluck Jonathan or invited him to contest the 2027 presidential election is not true. He also added that PDP had done enough for Jonathan, and as a member of their party, there was no way they would woo him. Abdullahi, who explained that they were yet to discuss the issue with Jonathan, said they have 12 governors and many other prominent politicians who are eligible and competent to contest the presidential election. In other news, more than 200 suspects who were linked with the terrorism activities in different parts of the country have been convicted by the federal high courts in the country after they were found guilty of the offenses, Daily Trust reports. Some of the suspects, according to the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the Office of the National Security Advisor, were sentenced to death, life imprisonment, and 20 to 70 years, depending on the gravity of their offense. Daily Trust reports that the Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation under the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, in collaboration with the ONSA, had been overseeing their trial. Hundreds of the suspects were being tried by 5 federal high court judges in phases at the KNG detention facility over their involvement in the heinous crimes, with over 500 convictions secured in the past. Given an update on Sunday after conclusion of Phase 6 of the trial that was held between December 9 to 13, 2024, the Department of Strategic Communications in ONSA explained that a total of 237 cases were heard from the trials. The department stated that among those sentenced to the maximum penalty were individuals found guilty of heinous offenses, including attacks on women and children and destruction of religious sites. And to the National Assembly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has stated that the establishment of 4 new tertiary institutions, renovations of primary and secondary schools in Zaria, will help the ancient city to retain its status as a center of learning while providing more opportunities for the whole north and other parts of Nigeria. He made the assertion at a meeting with the executive members of the Zaria Educational and Development Association in Zaria when the Speaker inspected some primary schools renovation projects in the ancient city on Saturday. The inspection of the projects alongside roads and bridges construction projects in some neighboring villages heralded the groundbreaking ceremony for the 4 new institutions in Zaria slated for Sunday. They include Federal College of Education, College of Health Sciences, National Open University Campus, and College of Legal Studies.
As the contractor, when I visited the place, he said between 6 months to 1 year, the project will be completed. The good thing that you need to know is that we have provided the money completely, what the contractor needs to utilize. So he doesn't have to wait for another budget cycle for him to access money to finish. Everything has been provided under the 2024 appropriation bill. So hopefully between June next year to December next year, we are hoping that that place will be completely ready for use.
Now, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has reiterated its commitment to tackling the menace of counterfeit and substandard pharmaceutical products in Nigeria. The Director General of NAFDAC, Mojisola Adeyeye, made this known at the 8th Annual Conference of the Association of Nigeria Health Journalists in Abuja on Saturday. Represented by the Director, Post-Marketing Surveillance, Beatrice Fraden, Adeyeye said the agency has intensified partnership with countries such as China and India to ensure rigorous testing of products destined for Nigeria. She said the strategy includes appointing independent analysts in these countries to verify product safety before shipment. She also highlighted other proactive measures including pre-shipment testing, post-marketing surveillance, and consumer engagement as part of its comprehensive approach to safeguarding public health. You're watching the news update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Healthcare challenges persist for communities in Kano as Beta village transforms shop into a clinic. We'll bring you details of this story and more after the break. We'll be right back. It's nice to have you join us again. Here is a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that months after Alau Dam collapse, community faces ongoing food shortages, drought, and fishermen migration. You also heard 20 people feared dead in boat accident in Benue State. And now moving on to other stories. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency intercepted multi-billion naira shipments of methamphetamine and loud, a potent strain of cannabis concealed in automobile spare parts imported from Canada. The cargo intended for distribution during the Christmas and New Year season was tracked across 3 continents before being seized at the Tinkan Seaport in Lagos State. On December 12th and 13th, 2024, NDLEA recovered a total of 83.301 kilograms of methamphetamine from 2 consignments. One shipment contained 5.001 kilogram of meth hidden in a Toyota Camry, leading to the arrest of a businessman, Isaac Onwumere. The second shipment, bound for the Ladipo market, held 867.5 kilogram of loud and 78.3 kilogram of meth, resulting in the arrest of Nwanolue Emeka, and Friday Ogbe. The seized methamphetamine is worth 124.95 million naira, while the 867.5 kilogram of loud has a street value of 2.17 billion naira. The operation followed months of intelligence gathering and joint examination with customs and other port stakeholders. These successful interceptions mark a significant achievement in NDLEA's efforts to combat drug trafficking, particularly during the holiday season. Hundreds of women and children in Beta Village, Gizawa local government area of Kano State receive medical care in a shop equipped with just one bed, which has been converted into a makeshift hospital. The village's only health facility, built in the 1990s under the administration of Kabiru Gaya, has been abandoned by health workers due to its dilapidated state, sparking fears of imminent collapse. Ahmed Dati visited Beta Village and filed this report.
Hajia Juwaire Dalha, a female community member, donated the shop in her house to serve as the dispensary and treatment center for people living in the area. Women from the neighboring villages attend prenatal and antenatal care inside the shop. Nazifi Abdullahi is the officer in charge of the facility with 5 workers and 2 volunteers.
My challenges is that is a failure of building. We don't have a building health facility. We are now in some small shop.
He listed lack of office accommodation and medical personnel as their biggest challenge, though malaria drugs are given free under the rollback malaria program. Another mother, Ali Al-Qasim Baita, who brought her baby for immunization, said women in the area face difficulty getting medical attention, especially for complicated cases. My appeal is for the government to rebuild and upgrade the health facility we have here. Sometimes we have to travel to Munjibur or Geza General Hospitals during emergencies. So many lives were lost in the process. But if you have a well-equipped hospital here, many lives could be saved. Al-Qasim Ishaku is the village head of Baita, and he appealed to the state government to come to their aid as the facility caters for over 8,000 residents who live in the community, in addition to others coming from the neighboring villages. The facility caters for at least 8,000 people in Baita village alone. And when you add women coming from villages like Jeka da Omo, Nziri, Kadawa, Warba, Daurawa, Galadimawa, Koya, and Gargeri, the number could be over 10,000. Baita village, located close to Minjibur Wasai Dam, is a remote area prone to flood, making movement difficult during the rainy season. Ahmad Datti, Trust TV News, Kano.
And now to developments away from Nigeria. West African leaders from the regional group ECOWAS are meeting on Sunday for a summit, with security and the departure from the bloc of the 3 military-led governments high on the agenda. Before the Economic Community of West African States meeting, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger reaffirmed as irreversible their decision to quit the bloc, which they condemned as subservient to ex-colonial ruler France. The departure of the 3 could have a major impact on free trade and movement, as well as on security cooperation in a region where jihadist groups are gaining ground across the Sahel. Among those attending the summit in the Nigerian capital Abuja will be Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who was appointed as a mediator with the breakaway states by the 15-member ECOWAS in July. Faye said last week he was making progress in talks with the 3 and said there was no reason for them not to maintain relations, especially given the security situation. The departure of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger will become effective 1 year after the announcement in January 2025, according to the bloc's regulations. The 3 states have also formed their own confederation, the Alliance of Sahel States, after severing ties with France and pivoting towards Russia. And finally, sports. Shooting Stars head coach Gbenga Odumbote is optimistic his side will secure a continental ticket at the end of the season. The Oluyole Warriors barely missed out on a place on the continent last season, finishing 4th on the table. Shooting Stars struggled at the start of the season but have recorded positive results in recent outings. The Ibadan club moved to 4th position on the table following Saturday's 2-0 win over Kano Pillars. And that's about the size of the package on the news update at this moment. Do not forget, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs and documentary. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for your time. Join us again.